cultural activities. When we discussing about the village, when we heard this term village, when we are listening about the village, first thing as comes, people are practicing the agriculture. Second, that particular economy where the industries are the limited in number, industries are not approaching. Third thing, as a people are the illiterate. Such types of effects which are having in our mind, these are striking in our mind suddenly when we are discussing about the village. But that particular village, the hypothetical village, their study, it explains that the modern villages, they are having as a variety of activities, a different number of activities basically done by the people to earn their livelihoods, clear, to earn their income. But in a most number of rural areas, 60 to 70% of our population, it has directly and indirectly dependent on a primary activities. Primary activities means those activities which are directly linked with land and water resources. Those activities which are directly and indirectly linked with the land and water resources are known as a primary activities. So such activities which are included under the primary means agriculture, dairy farming, forestry, mining, such fishing, such activities are there which are directly correlated with the land and water resources. So such activities are basically the source or support of a village economy, rural economy. So let's move towards a palampur. The village palampur is known for the production of things. What it means a production? Production means it is an activity that involves to produce goods and services. It is an activity. Production means it is an activity that involves or that produce goods and services. Goods and services. Not only as a goods are there, services also produced by the economy. Services given by the economy. Services given by the people. Service in the sense, milkman which is giving milk to us, newspaper wala, kabadi wala. All these are the services. They are providing the services. They are neither directly giving as the goods. They are providing as a door-to-door services. So the goods and services. When we produce goods and services for the economy is known as the production. It is known as the production. Clear? It is known as the production, and production is basically influenced by the three factors: land, labor, capital. Factors affecting the production are the land, labor, and capital. And before of it, let's discuss regarding as a what kind of a specialities exist in a village palampur. So that hypothetical village, it has adjacent to the two of the large villages, one as the Raiganj, and the second is the Shahpur. So such kind of effects, it may be asked you in the form of MCQs. Under influence of a Raiganj and a Shahpur, Palampur developed. How? Because such number of smaller settlements which earlier developed around 40-50 years back, when we are discussing about Nakunder, discussing about a Philaur, Duraya, these were the smaller towns, but now they are developing under influence of a Jalandhar. Under influence of Jalandhar and Ludhiana, these smaller towns which were adjacent to the large cities, they are also developing. Same as under influence of a Raiganj and a Shahpur, Palampur developed. Another example is there. Delhi is a capital city. Delhi is the capital city of our country. So the under influence of a Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon, such kind of the settlements, they develop. Industries, when the industries, IT-based industries, these were allocated in a parts of a Noida and Gurgaon. So they develop under influence of a Delhi. Clear? So the Raiganj and the Shahpur, these are the largest settlements. Under their influence of Palampur, it improved their condition. It became as a developed in the sense when their economic conditions improve, the level of poverty removed. Poverty means what? when a person is unable to complete their basic necessity is a poverty. Clear? It is known as the poverty. That
Sir, Palampur developed under the influence of Raiganj and Shahpur, or Shahpur and Raiganj influenced?
Sir, please repeat factors affecting production.
land, labor, and capital. We will explain later on. First of all, as brief description regarding as a Palampur. Land, labor, and capital. Yes, Karanveer Singh.
Sir, please repeat the definition of poverty.
Poverty means when a person unable to complete their basic needs. A person unable to complete their basic needs. There are only the three basic needs: food, shelter, clothing. Food, shelter, clothing. Roti, kapra, makan. So when a person unable to complete their basic necessities, these are the basic necessities. That person which can't avail the 2 meals in a day, a person which can't sustain in a shelter, a person which can't afford as a clothes to protect themselves from the severe cold climatic condition, the person is considered under poverty. Why we explaining such fact? Because by judging or by checking that people are under the poverty, through which the government has targeting such people and giving them the incentives in the form of the food grains providing at a low cost. Food grains providing at a low cost. One of the schemes of government is there, Antyodaya Anna Yojana. Normally we are purchasing the wheat at the amount of 20 to 25 rupees per kg. But the government has given the wheat to the such sections which can't afford the basic needs, 2 rupees per kg. It's only for the such groups which are under poverty. Clear? Understood? So let's continue the Palampur. So Palampur, due to the under influence of a Palampur, the Raiganj, Shahpur, these were also influenced. Palampur is a basically well electrified village. Here the electricity is basically used for the tube wells and running of the machines. Clear? Running of machines for this electricity has a basically use. If the question has asked you regarding as a composition of a population in a Palampur, composition of population, what kind of qualities of a population is there? So there are the total number of 450 families are existing in a village Palampur. 450 families are there, and around 80 upper caste families are own their own majority of a large land areas. There, put it your hand down. If not, if you are not having any query, okay. And there are the SC community. Dalits are also existed. There is a large section of a population is there which are not having the land. They are not having their own land. They are basically dependent on a large scale farmers for the labor. Small scale farmers or either the landless farmers, they are working as the laborer in a fields of the large scale farmers. Clear? In a village Palampur, there is not as a fixed source of income. Sorry, a fixed source of loans or capitals. When we're talking about the villages, in villages, the banks are not there. Banks are not existing in a villages. Banks are generally existing over urban settlements. But in the rural areas, the source of a credit, the source of a loan is the money lenders and landlords. Through the money lenders, small scale farmers borrowed the loan. They borrowed the loan from the large scale farmers or the landlords. But the large scale farmers, they saved their money of a previous years to use in a next upcoming year for agriculture and other necessities. So both the types of the farmers are existing in a village Palampur. Large scale farmers are also there, which are emphasizing over the commercial farming. In the other side, the small scale farmers are there, which are basically emphasizing over the subsistence farming for their survival only. The education status in a village Palampur. It has classified to the primary school. There is a primary school and a high school has also present. Primary school and high school. High school till the 10th level of the education providing to the villagers. And afterwards, at 10, they moving towards the adjoining areas to gain the more education, higher education. When we're talking about the transport facility in a village Palampur, in village Palampur, the transport facility, there is a transport is developed, but traditional vehicles they also used by the people for the movement from their areas. For this, they basically prefer to the bullock carts, tangas. These were also used by the people. These were also used by the people in a village Palampur. Clear? Is that clear? Is that clear? Then, so in village Palampur, there are basically the two types of activities are there. Activities done by the people in village Palampur. One as the farm activities, FARM, farm activities, which means as agriculture, and second are the non-farm activities. Non-farm activities. Non-farm activities. Is that clear? Farm activities and non-farm activities. Non-farm activities includes dairy farming. It includes dairy farming. Dairy farming. Dairy farming. Second one. First is the dairy farming. Second, shopkeepers. 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 Third, there are the small scale. Small scale manufacturing units. Manufacturing units means industries. Small scale industries are there. Small scale industries are there. Small scale industries are there. Dairy farming, small scale industries, shopkeepers, and transport. So these are the major non-farm which are not related with the farm activities. Agriculture, except agriculture, these four kinds of the activities also done by the people. These are done by the people for the earning of their livelihoods. For the earning of their livelihoods. They are basically practicing these kinds of the activities for earning of their livelihoods. For the earning of their livelihoods. Is that clear? Clear on your screens? So non-farm activities referred to as the non-farm activities include as a small manufacturing, transport, and a shopkeeping. Shopkeeping and dairy farming also. Dairy farming also. Normally, we are considered a dairy farming under the primary sector activities, the primary activities. Clear? But here as a non-farm, not directly associated with the farming sector. In farming, we produce the goods from the land. Clear? And really, a little number of the farmers in a village Palampur are there, which basically emphasizing over the dairy farming also. With supportive to the agriculture, they are using the dairy farming for the regularization of income. Generally, the income generates in agriculture after 4 to 6 months. When the crop, it will harvest and sell in a market. Afterwards, a farmer, it can earn the money. Clear? And complete their other needs, repay the amount of loan to the banks or the money lenders, complete the other needs of the families. To regularize the income, earnings of a regular income, some number of the farmers are there, which are basically as a large farmer, which are basically practicing the dairy farming in support to the agriculture. Dairy farming in support to agriculture, fishing, poultry farming. These are the supportive occupations to the agriculture, because these are help to the generate income as timely as monthly basis or the weekly. Then the farmers, they can complete their other needs of the families easily. Otherwise, the small scale farmers, those which are earned the income after the harvesting of a crop, they generally complete their needs of the families to pay the fees of their children. They generally use as the loans, and for the loan, they are bound to pay the interest also. So the large scale farmers protect themselves from the such cycle of the loans by generating the income from the dairy farming and the poultry farm. Clear? Very clear. Is that clear? Yes, Titiksha. Titiksha. Production. Factors affecting the production. Production means to produce goods and services with the help of the activities is known as the production. Clear? Is known as the production. Is known as the production. Now the factors affecting the production are factors affecting the production are land, labor, and capital. Land, labor, and capital. Land, labor, and capital. Capital are of the two types. There are two types of the capital are there. Two types of capital are there. One as the physical capital, and human capital. Physical capital and human capital. Physical capital also having their two parts, two of the types. One as the working capital and fixed capital. Is that clear? These are the major factors which are affecting the production in any of a sector. Either we are talking about the primary sector, secondary sector, or tertiary sector. In any of our economy, these are the major factors which are affecting the production. Production means whatever the produce from the industry, it will be as a produce for the selling in a market and to earn the profits. Clear? So that these are the major factors which are affecting as a production. Land, labor, capital. Capital having their two parts. One as a physical capital, second as the human capital. Physical capital and human capital. Physical capital includes as a two of their parts, working capital and fixed capital. Let's start from the first. Land. Land is a fixed resource. It decreasing day by day, but not increasing. Land decreasing day by day, but not increasing. It doesn't mean that the total area of a country reduced. No, it doesn't mean that. It means that total area under the cultivation, area under the agriculture reducing. Why? Because growing population. Increase in population, it occupy the agricultural land. For the set up the industries, we are occupying the agricultural land. So it means that the agricultural land reducing day by day. If the agricultural land, it will be as a reduced, then what will be happen? Production will influence. Agricultural production will influence. That agricultural production which is used for to feed the population. To provide the food, to complete the food requirement of population, it will be as affected. Clear? Is that clear? So land is basically used for a variety of purposes in production, to set up the industries, to obtain the raw materials. For this, a land is required. So land is the most important factor of production, which is the fixed in nature. It is a fixed in nature. It is used for a production by setting up building, obtain raw material, etc. Clear? Obtain raw material. Raw material, it may be as a forest, which is used in a timber industry. Land, it can be as used for the agriculture, for production of crops. Land has used for the obtaining the extraction of minerals also. So land is the most important factor of a production. Second, labor. Labor. Second factor of production is a labor. Labor means it means that the physical and mental efforts put in by the individuals for production. When individuals they are put their efforts in a mental as well as physical. Mental means those which are doing the work in our offices, officials. Clear? In the other side, there are the laborers are there which are doing the work for the running of machines. Laborers, physical as well as the mental, to put forward their efforts, mental and physical, in task of a production is known as the labor. Clear? They are playing the role of a labor. Labor is a necessary. With the increase and a decrease in a labor, it directly influences the production. If the number of the workers are there, if we increase the number of workers in a production sites, then simultaneously production will increase, because the people they will produce the more goods. If the number of workers reduce in a industries, it will simultaneously influence the production. It influences the production. Clear? Is that clear? Till there any doubts? There are the two forms of the capital are there. Physical, static in nature. Physical means that kind of capital which is a static, which is a permanent in nature. Next is the human capital. Human capital. Human capital, it's as the changeable, it's a flexible in nature. It is a flexible in nature. It can be as an increase or decrease. Human capital can increase or decrease. Human capital can increase or decrease as per the situations. Clear? Yes, Dhairya. Physical capital is a static in nature. Yes.
सर ये सर डेफिनेशन ही पूछनी थी फिजिकल और ह्यूमन कैपिटल की.
Physical nature, whereas a human capital is a flexible in nature. It can be as an increase or decrease. Increase or decrease as per the circumstances. Circumstances. Let's start from the first, physical capital. There are two types of physical capitals are there. Working capital is the first. Working capital. Working means which is in use in existence. So in industries, in agriculture, there are basically as a two particular things are there which can be as an increase or decrease, which can be used in work. These are the raw material. These are the raw material and money. Money in hand. Money in hand used for the payment of the salaries to the laborers, or raw material. If we increase the raw material, then the simultaneously production will increase. If we reduce the raw material, it's in a working situation. If reduce in a raw material, then it will simultaneously influence the low production. And generally the raw materials are increased to consume in industries basically during the in season. For example, hosiery industries of Ludhiana, which is known for the hosiery industries, the woolen industries. Clear? During the winters, they start to consume as a maximum raw material to produce the more goods and sell in market to the for the earning of the profits. But now presently during the summers, these industries they reduce the consumption of a raw material. Still, such units, such factories are doing the work in a present, but their products are reducing. Now they are just producing as the socks, but during the winters they are producing as a jerseys, jackets, trousers. Clear? Trousers. So the track suits they are producing by the such industries of Ludhiana during the in season, during in winters. Then they consume as a maximum raw materials. During the off seasons they consume lesser raw materials. Clear? In the other side, second type of capital is the fixed capital. such form of a capital in industries in production sites which need not to change in a shorter duration, which can work for the longer duration without any changes. For example, machines, tools, building which is used for the production of goods. They need not to change in a shorter duration of time. For a long run, they are producing the things throughout the so many number of years. For example, those industries which were set up just after the independence, especially as the sugar mills, they still as the production units in present. But in present, either those sugar mills which are located by the government at present or modified from the older towards a modern on the basis of a technology. Modern technology produce the more goods and cause less wastage. But the older machinery produce the goods, but such kind of a production is a low graded, lesser production to the old traditional machines. Clear? Yes.